Alright, I figured I'd make a little video on my Ranger here. I just recently had to replace the starter in it, and my four-wheel drive actuator came as well. This is the old one, that's the new one. I might make a little separate video on that here in just a second, because the new one doesn't come with your wire that you gotta connect to your transfer case. That doesn't actually go into the plug itself. That comes on those actuators. But anyway, I wanted to make this little video to help people out that gotta replace their starter. I just recently replaced the starter in this thing. Where's the bad one? There's the bad one right there. And these guys got like a starting solenoid like built onto the side of them, so you got those extra things to stick shit to. Where usually the F-150s, I think there's only like one bolt you screw on here or whatever. And this was actually broken. I didn't even notice that. That's actually broken. That was probably one of my problems right there. But yeah, mine was locked up. I've already got the hood loose. And I'm going to show you how it's easier to put it on. It just so happened that I have my starting solenoid disconnected when I was putting my new starter on, and that's because I arrived it to put on my other truck because it's went bad. So if you disconnect those two nuts, I don't even think you gotta disconnect that little red wire. Actually, yeah, might as well, because it runs down into that bigger wire. But yeah, you disconnect those two nuts and just set them to the side, so that way the wires down here, you see it, these two wires, this big one and then this big one, so that way they can droop down. And if you do that, then the wires on your starter, you can't see it because the sun is so bright. It's morning time right now. There, you can see it. That's my brand new starter, and it is really hard to get to from up underneath it. You can actually get to it from the top up here if you have a long enough arm. And like my Ranger has bigger tires, so it'd be easier to get to. But yeah, you disconnect those wires, and you can actually, once you take, because you don't need to look at that one no more, let me show you the old one. Once you take the two bolts off to hold it, this up here, and then this down here, you can literally let the starter set onto the ground, and then you can continue to take these three off. Because I did that with the old one when I took it off. I just completely, after I disconnected the two that mount it, I let it set on the ground so I could take these off. It's way easier to do, because it's damn near impossible to get my Bigfoot hands up in there. Look at how big my hand is compared to the starter. But yeah, it's hard to get my hand up in there to get onto that little junk, especially from the underside. And I didn't even think about coming to it from the top, because it was a dirty and old starter, so I couldn't even see it from up here. The new one shines though, you can see it. There it is. It won't focus on it. But anyway, yeah, that helps a lot. You just disconnect those two things and you literally let the starter hang on the ground. It makes changing the starter a whole hell of a lot easier. Hopefully that helps somebody out. Peace.